It is UFC Vegas 117 fight week. Arnold Allen versus Melquizael Costa. We got an alright card. Also, by the way, what the fuck is that tattoo of Melquizael Costa? But this card's okay. You know, the return of Arnold Allen. You know, who doesn't want to see Arnold Allen fight? Melquizael Costa, bit decent prospect at the moment. Good main event, but the rest of the card's pretty mid. This fight is pretty underrated. Very good fight here. Wellmaker's return. Modestas Bukauskas is back. Couple of mid bantamweights. Just Vinicius Oliveira victim. That fight's been cancelled. Taco Tokos is back. That fight's been cancelled. Gant as a short notice replacement. Couple of highly ranked bantamweights. Cody Brundage is back. Elise Ardeline versus Polyana Viana, the battle of the OF models. Whereas Gurul, oh, Sean O'Bannon's back. So this card is fucking stacked. Let's get into it. I'm going to go through every fight and give who I think is going to win. First fight of the night, and what a badass fight, kid. It's Shana fucking Bannon versus Nicole Kalari in the strawweight division, and this is a complete 50-50. Shauna Bannon is the better striker, you'd imagine. You know, she has that. She's basically a D. She's not even a B-Tech. She's a D-Tech Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, where she just jumps forward with that lead leg out, sort of just popping like that. It's in that Asian woman clip on YouTube of some Japanese promotion. She's like that, with the side kick, like hopping in the air, going towards you. Last time out, she got mauled by Sam Hughes, who's okay. Before that, she's nearly got knocked out by Puja Toma. Then she got the armbar win. Before that, she beat Alice Ardeline. That's actually a solid win. And then lost to Bruno Basile on the debut. So, with Shauna Bannon, she's losing to high output, quick WMMA fighters who are looking to take her down and beat her by submission. And I do think Nicole Kalari can do this to her. But I don't think she's going to submit her. I think Nicole Kalari wins by decision. She's 0-2 in the UFC. However, I think she's faster than Shauna Bannon. And I think she will get the takedowns on Shauna Bannon and win a decision. You know, this isn't a great fight. I honestly don't know. I'm just going to lean with Kalari. I just don't like what I'm seeing out of Shauna Bannon. She's too predictable. She spams that body kick. Whereas Kalari will mix it up, shoot the takedowns when needed, and I think she will have a grappling advantage over Shauna Bannon. So I'm going with Kalari by decision. Not completely confident though. I just don't know an awful lot about her, but I think she's a better grappler, and Shauna Bannon's weakness is grappling. On to the second fight of the card, we have Daniel Barez versus Luis Gurul in the flyweight division, and this is your prime example of a flyweight apex slot card. You know, two bottom of the barrel guys, both for lots of losses in the UFC. Daniel Barez is 1-2, losing to Jafel Filho and Andre Lima. Andre Lima, that name may sound familiar. That's the guy that got bit. He's also undefeated. So Barez isn't losing to the worst comp, whereas Gurul is 0-3 in the UFC. Got carried by Ode Osborne, lost to Jesus Aguilar and Alden Correa. So you know, I got carried by Ode Osborne. You know, if you're getting carried by Ode Osborne, you're not good. No offense to Ode Osborne, he's pretty mid. But I like Daniel Barez in this fight here. I think he's a higher output, quicker guy. Got all, you know, he can be a bit of a punching bag. He had an alright performance against Alden Correa in his last fight, but I think he's too low output. He leaves it too late in the fight. I'm predicting a 29-28 Barez decision. Gurul puts it on him in the late rounds, but I think Barez gets ahead in rounds 1 and 2, mixes up. I like his kicking game. He's higher output than Gurul. Has a bit of takedown threat. You could take Gurul down if he gets a bit scrappy on the feet, whereas Gurul isn't the best grappler. But yeah, I'm going to favour Perez here. He's had a tough go of it in the UFC. Fought some good comp. Lost. Has a win against Victor Almitrano. Don't know if I'm saying that right. He's okay. Whereas Gurul's 3, not losing to the best comp and getting dominated. I'm going to go with Perez by decision here. I think this is the end of Luis Gurul in the UFC. I'm not too confident as I don't know much about either of the guys, but I'm going to lean Perez 29-28 decision win. Next up, we have the battle of the OF baddies in the strawweight division. Alice Ardeline versus Polyana Viana. Let's be real, Polyana Viana's the better looking woman, but that's not how it works in MMA. I'm going to go with Alice Ardeline by decision. You know, I think Alice Ardeline's been a bit overrated here. I think Viana's been a bit underrated. You know, Viana is the underdog. Nobody's anything about dogs, bro. But I don't rate Viana's striking game at all. I think she's utter dog shit on the feet, talking of underdogs. But I'm kind of worried though, picking Elise Hardeline. Poliana Viana is a solid grappler against women with low level grappling ability. And I do believe Elise Hardeline is a pretty bottom of the barrel grappler. And also, Elise Hardeline's 2 wins in the UFC are against Rayani Dos Santos, Puja Tomar beat her, and Montserrat Ruiz, who is 5 foot tall, the smallest fighter in the history of the UFC, and she's a complete can as well. So she's 2-2 in the UFC. You know, she lost to Shana Bannon and Melissa Martinez. Then she beat 2 cans. So I'm kind of worried. I'm not that confident in picking her here. She's got a nice arse, but that's nothing to do with the sport. So I don't know why I brought that up. Dilly MMA is not a gooner. Poliana Viana's got a nice arse as well, but I think she's arse on the feet. Oh, there we go. See, I link the porn jokes to the MMA fight. But I'm worried that Poliana Viana can take her down, latch up the back, get a rear naked choke. But I think Arlis Ardaline's striking is better than Viana's. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that she's not going to get a submission, but I like that gym Elise Ardaline trains at. She trains at Fusion. That's a good gym. And Poliana Viana, she doesn't really look like her head is in the game. You know, she's very famous now. You know, she may be on that blue website that she makes a lot of money off of. I don't think head's in the game. You know, all these weird allegations of her and Alex Pereira, what she did to Colby Covington. I'm going to go with Elise Ardaline by decision. Higher output, better striker. I'm worried though that Viana can get a sub. Enough of the porn jokes. Let's talk MMA now. Next fight, another incredible fight. And what are Netflix thinking seeing this card compete with their card? But you know what? As arse as both these guys may be, I'm actually leaning Cody Brundage here. I know that sounds ridiculous to say, the motherfucker's 11-9, but you got to consider in how he's looking in those fights. Yes, he's losing them. So is Petrosky, but last time out against Dante Johnson on short notice, I actually thought he had a solid case for winning that fight. Dante Johnson's a good prospect. Before that, yes, he got smoked by Cam Ralston, but he looked good for about a round and a half. Petrosky looked like dog shit against Cam Ralston in his last fight. Just went out there. It's like a lamb to slaughter. He's like an Ateba Gautier type fight where he just stood in front of fucking Petrosky. He's Petrosky. Stood in front of Cam Ralston and just ate a nasty left hook and just went down with barely any fight. Before then got out pieced up by Edmund Shabazian. I don't know, Cody Brundage is not Cam Ralston or Edmund Shabazian, but Andrei Petrosky is not Bonte Johnson, Cam Ralston, Eric McConaughey, Hansel Abdul Malik. I like Cody Brundage in this fight. I think he's a higher output guy. He'll push a pace on Petrosky. He'll back him up against the cage. And you can never pick Cody Brundage, but I'm going to do it. And I think he's going to get a TKO win over Andrei Petrosky. I don't rate Andrei Petrosky at all. You know, we all remember when he carried himself running into, I want to say Jacob Malkoon. I think it was Jacob Malkoon's hip. So I don't rate either of these guys, but I think Cody Brundage, both these guys are fighting for their career, but I do think Cody Brundage shines bright when it's all up against him. And I think he's going to get a KO win over Andrei Petrosky. I'm not confident in this. I've not been confident in any of these fights. You know, I'm not confident in Brundage. I'm not confident in Ardaline. I'm not confident in Barez. I'm not confident in Cagliari. But I'm going to go with Cody Brundage. This is just your typical Apex slop where you get mid v mid v mid, and it's 99% impossible to pick because either the guy could win because they're both shit. Stop crashing out on the Apex cards; they're not that bad. But I think Cody Brundage can get a KO win here over Andrei Petrosky. Next up, and a hugely important fight for the ranking of the division, we've got number 5, Ketlen Vieira versus number 10, number 11, Jacqueline Cavalcante. This is a big fight, and it's just buried on the prelims of an Apex. You know, the best we can do is the Apex kid. A great movement from the UFC. I know it's the women's bantamweight division, and it's pretty boring, but still, massively highly ranked fight, and it's buried in the prelims. But I'm going to lean towards Jacqueline Cavalcante by decision. I like her striking. She's a higher output striker than Ketlen Vieira. I'm playing decision because neither of these women get many finishes. Jacqueline Cavalcante has never got a finish in the UFC. Ketlen Vieira hasn't got one since 2017. I'm more likely to finish watching Elise Ardaline versus Poliana Viana. That's disgusting. But Ketlen Vieira is a disgusting fight to watch. She likes to hold you up against the cage. Very low output for a minimal strike. She has got a decent grappling threat here. I would probably see Ketlen Vieira shooting a couple of takedowns on Jacqueline Cavalcante. Jacqueline Cavalcante's got the major advantage in the striking, even though we saw her last time out against Mayra Bueno Silva. Outstrike her. I think this fight goes the exact same way. Ketlen Vieira and Mayra Bueno Silva, pretty similar. I think Ketlen Vieira is better on the feet. She's more defensively sound, more durable. But I think as the fight goes on, Cavalcante will break her down. She's got some nice kicks, slow kicks. She mixes it up to the body, to the head. And I'm going to go with Cavalcante by decision. I just think Ketlen Vieira has had her time at the top of the division, you know. She's never going to get a title fight anyway because she's lost to Kayla Harrison. Got wins over Miyasi Chiason. You know, she nearly beat Norma Dumont, but that's not aged that well because Jocelyn Edwards has gone out there and beat her. And I want to say we're seeing a new guard in this women's bantamweight division. Jocelyn Edwards got the big jump up against Norma Dumont. Cavalcante's now getting against Ketlen Vieira. It's nice to see. As these women divisions are pretty boring, you know. It's not even being misogynistic. They're boring. They've got the same woman at the top. We need to see more prospects get these chances, and I'm glad to see they're doing it. I'm going with Cavalcante by decision. I am worried though she could get taken down and smudged, but she's got a better striking advantage, and I don't think Ketlen Vieira is that dangerous on the ground nor on the feet. She's just kind of very mid everywhere. Looks to win a decision against you, but I think Cavalcante is going to land the higher output, more damaging strikes, get away to a decision win, and be ranked number 5 in her division. Next up, we go to the lightweight division where we was meant to have Trey Ogden versus Tommy Gant. However, Trey Ogden has pulled out with an injury, and instead we have Tommy Gant taking on another undefeated prospect in Artur Minev. Tommy Grant coming off of a round one submission win by guillotine in the Denmark 10 Series. Artur Minev himself is undefeated. Fights at Fury FC, a solid promotion. We've seen Ethan Ewing come from there and do well in the UFC. However, I'm still going to go with Tommy Gant. I think he's a better, well-rounded wrestler. Artur Minev's not fought no one with the wrestling ability of Tommy Gant. He hasn't been taken down or mauled in the regional scene. I've seen some of his fights. He's got curve power. However, I think Tommy Gant is going to take him down, land some ground and pound, and get a submission win, maybe in the first or second. Both these guys are solid. However, just because of the short notice, I think Tommy Gant gets it done. He trains with DC. We've seen guys like Jacoby Smith and Manuel Rodriguez come over to the UFC. I know, they're individuals, but he's training at a good gym with good coaches, and I think he beats Artur Minev in his debut. I don't think this guy's a complete can. He's obviously undefeated. He's not beaten no one that good, but I think he'll have some success in the UFC. However, this is too soon against too good of a guy. They tried to give Tommy Grant a can in Trey Ogden, who's probably going to smoke. This is a more competitive matchup as he's young. He's got power. He's quick on the feet. However, I still think Tommy Grant gets it done because of the short notice. I think he takes Artur Minev down. And maybe Minev survives and Gant wins the decision, but I think he gets a submission win. And I'm going to go with Tommy Gant to get his first win in the UFC. Headline of the prelims, we have Taco Tokos, bruv, versus Ivan Ersan. And honestly, I don't know why Taco Tokos is an underdog. I'm picking Taco Tokos by decision. I think they're pretty even on the feet. Both guys pretty low output, all right power, but not got the best technique to land it. But I do believe Taco Tokos has the grappling advantage in this fight. Ivan Ersan's pretty mid on the ground, so Navajo Sterling get him down. Ion Kutalaba get him down. But also, I would like to say, Taco Tokos has been training with Chimaev, Brandon Allen, Tuskayev in that gym, but also that is kind of cursed at the moment, seeing Chimaev's performance. But I do believe Taco Tokos, he's a better MMA fighter than Ivan Ersan. I'm worried about the power of Ersan in the early rounds, but I think Taco Tokos will take him down, see out some rounds, get some damage, get some dominant positions, maybe in the mount, side control, half guard, hold him there, land some strikes, get a couple of submission attempts. But I think it will go to a decision. There'll be a couple of scary moments in the later rounds on the feet. Ivan Ersan pushes him back up against the cage, probably 29-28 Taco Tokos. I think Ivan Arslan will win the later rounds. But, both guys, let's be honest, they're both pretty mid. Bottom of the barrel, light heavyweights, losing to prospects like on the come up, like Umar Sy, for example, Taco Tokos. Both guys lost to Navajo Sterling. So neither guy is going to be great. But I think Taco Tokos trains with the better gym. Has probably made more improvements. And also that win over Junior Tough has aged well. We see him get a win finally against, what's the guy's name? That big fucking Brazilian guy. Christian Sank. Yeah, but Taco Tokos, I think, wins a decision here. Pretty risky. This card is so fucking hard to predict. All these fights 50-50. Like, they're all like plus 100, minus 100. They're all so close to pick, so I can end up getting all these fights wrong. But they're all very close to pick, and I'm going with Taco Tokos by decision. Open up the main card. We have Nikolai Vakretinov versus Chaos Williams. This is actually a pretty good fight. Two very solid welterweight contenders in the division. However, I'm leaning towards, and this is a complete 50-50 fight. I'm leaning towards Chaos Williams, though. Complete 50-50. I think it's going to be a stand-up fight. I don't think it's going to go the distance. Both guys are going to come out swinging heavy and hard at each other. However, I think Chaos Williams is more calm and composed. Vakretinov gets a bit wild. Yes, he's powerful, but if you don't land, it's not going to do no damage. Chaos Williams has only lost to elite comp in the UFC. Andreas Gustafsson last time out. Well, I know he got fraud checked by Vakretinov. For Fakretinov, a lot of them ovs in the UFC, and Gabriel Bonfim, who's about to fight fucking Bilal Muhammad. So, not the worst losses as of late. Vakretinov, though, has two of arguably the worst wins you could have in the welterweight division. Nico Price at the beginning of last year, and Francisco Prado. Both those guys are bums before that, losing to Danny Barlow, who's solid. Austin Vanderford, and Puniel Soriano, he's okay to be fair, but he lost to Austin Vanderford. His only wins are Nico Price and Prado. Not good wins at all. He's a powerful puncher though. However, I think his technique's a bit off. If he doesn't land that big shot, he doesn't really set up his shots very well. It's kind of like Losing Kita against Nathaniel Wood, where he just only goes for the big shots. Cardio problems as well. Big question marks on his cardio. You can guess. However, I think it goes for a brawl, and it'll be done in the first two. And I'm going to predict Chaos Williams get a KO here, get back on the win streak. Yeah, the stocks are low in Chaos Williams right now. Before the Bonfim fight, he was a pretty good guy in the division and got dominated by Gustafsson, which was sad to see because I quite like Chaos Williams and I think he's going to get back in the win column and beat Kretinov. I am worried though earlier, as Kretinov is very powerful. If he backs Chaos Williams up, he could knock him out. But I think Chaos Williams will he'll overcome some punishment from Kretinov and get a TKO himself. Next fight we have Timothy Kwamba versus Bernardo Sapage. And yet another fucking 50-50 fight. I hate picking fights like this where they're 50-50. Neither guy has a clear dominant advantage over the other. Both guys are mid here. Both guys are well rounded even. Sorry, mid's a bit harsh. Yeah, Timothy Kwamba's on a 2-fight win streak. He's a tough start to his career in the UFC, but he's on the momentum. Beating Chang Ho Lee and Roberto Romero. Chang Ho Lee's an alright win. Roberto Romero, it's okay. I mean, he lost to an armor and Kwamba, so we don't know yet. But Sapage did well to redeem himself after that brutal loss to Vinicius Oliveira. Got a win over Ricky Tershos last time out at UFC 311, 312, I want to say, like early beginnings of last year. However, I'm going to go with Timothy Kwamba by decision here. I like the reach advantage for him. I like the way he uses those low kicks. I think he could hurt the leg of Sapage. Pop the jab in his face all night. And to be honest, it's very 50-50. It can go either way. I'm just going to lean towards Timmy Kwamba. I like the momentum he's on right now, and I think he's going to make that a 3-fight win streak and continue the momentum. Sapage is tough to say because he's a dog, but I don't like the fact he didn't finish Ricky Tershos. Ricky Tershos is not good at all. You need to be getting guys like Ricky Tershos out there. I mean, you could say the same for Kwamba. He didn't get Chang Ho Lee out of there, but he did get KO over Roberto Romero. But I don't know, man. It's 50-50. I'm going to go Timmy Kwamba. I just know I'm going to do absolutely dog shit picks on this card because every fight is a 50-50. I'm going to go with Timothy Kwamba. I'm not confident in barely any of these fights on this card at all because they're all 50-50. Give me Timmy Kwamba by decision. Next fight on the card is, well, it's meant to be Modestas Bukauskas versus Rodolfo Bellato. However, literally half an hour ago, Rodolfo Bellato is out injured and there's a replacement and he is Christian Edwards. This is an absolute fucking layup for Modestas Bukauskas. I know it's short notice, the week of the fight, but Christian Edwards is absolute dog shit. He's 8-4, coming off of a round 2 KO win versus Glendale Whitney, who's 4-0 at Shamrock FC. I don't know what the fuck that is. But before that, he lost the decision to Luke Fernandez. That name sound familiar? Well, Luke Fernandez is the guy that Rodolfo Bellato just KO'd in the first round. That Dana White Contender Series guy that was undefeated. And before that, Christian Edwards beat Jake Collier by KO. Yes, Jake Collier, that fat heavyweight that was in UFC for years, the Aspinall smoked easily. I'm going to go with Ramon Modestas Bukauskas KO. This is an absolute layup. It's not really his fault or the UFC's fault. Short notice replacement. And that is the meta. If you're a regional guy that's not that good, never going to win on the Contender Series, just take a fight on short notice the week of the fight. You're guaranteed to at least get another fight in the UFC. It's a fucking easy money. That is the method. Give me Modestas Bukauskas round 1, round 2. Just give me Modestas Bukauskas winning probably round 1, round 2 KO. However, Modestas Bukauskas is a bit mid though. Not going to lie. He's defensively sound, mid everywhere, pretty low output. He's not going to get KO'd unless he throws his chin in the air like a retard he did in the final 10 seconds against Krylov. But I think he's going to knock out Christian Edwards. Probably could even take him down. Give me Modestas Bukauskas. Easy layup for him. If he loses, then that's very fucking embarrassing. On to the feature fight, and we have a I don't want to say failed prospect yet because he's still young, still new to the game. Malcolm Wellmaker taking on Juan Diaz, another prospect himself, feeding Wellmaker to the Lions. No more nice fights, no more layups. Gone from main card of MSG, I'm pretty sure, to the fucking Apex kid. But I do think Juan Diaz is being a bit overrated, overglazed. Yes, he had a good KO on the Contender Series, but before that on the regional scene, he's not beating good guys in convincing ways. I've done some look into his record. Uriel Cosso, 14-10. He took him to the decision. Jose Rua, who's 8-4, took him to the 5th round. Abraham Nua, who's 6-3, took him to the decision. So he's not this power finisher that people are seeing him as. Whereas Wellmaker in the UFC, no, let's be honest, Cameron Simon's solid. He's not the best output, but he's okay. Who else did he beat? Okay, Chris Martinez was a bum, but he's KOing these guys convincingly in the first round. They may be layups, but he's doing the job needed, like Gautier does, and etc. And Ethan Ewing is arguably a future champ. I don't personally believe that at the moment, but he's got real potential in this division. That's not a bad loss. Not like he got KO'd and dominated. It was semi-competitive. I know Ewing took over as the fight went on, but not a bad loss to have. I'm going to go with Wellmaker by decision here. I think what Diaz is solid. I don't get me wrong. He's not some can. He's a good fighter, good striker, but he's being majorly overglazed. Unless he's made major improvements in his Contender Series fight, I don't see much in his game. But Wellmaker was a tad bit overrated himself. But I think he's back again. His back is against the wall here. He had all the hype, all the calmness going into that fight against Ethan Ewing. Perhaps he didn't take Ewing as seriously, short notice fight. But I think he gets it done by decision here against Juan Diaz. I just don't see Juan Diaz as this marauder and this killer that people are painting him out to be because he got a nice KO on the Contender Series. You do not know who Juan Diaz is if you're picking him here, apart from that Contender Series fight. We've seen it before. Mark Vologdin, Andrea Martinetti, Luke Fernandez. So many guys that get nasty KOs and fights on the Contender Series. They come into the UFC, don't even fight anyone that good and just shit the bed, have stinker performances. I know it's in the Apex. It's not under the big lights or nothing. But I'm going with Malcolm Wellmaker by decision. A risky fight, as he's coming off that embarrassing loss. And Juan Diaz is an alright striker. But I think Wellmaker gets it done by decision. Moving on to the co-main event, and we have an incredible fight. Doo Ho Choi versus Daniel Santos. And I'm going with Daniel Santos by decision. I just think he is the more durable, younger, faster guy here. Doo Ho Choi has been inactive as fuck, only getting older, 34, 35 years of age. Daniel Santos is hitting the prime of his career, whereas Doo Ho Choi is on the decline. Doo Ho Choi hasn't fought since 2024 on that UFC 310 card against, I want to say Nate Landwehr? Yeah, Nate Landwehr. Destroyed Nate Landwehr in all fairness, but it's fucking Nate Landwehr. We saw Morgan Charrier do damage to him, piece him up badly, KO him. And Cobb Swanson as of late, was it? Yeah, 327, just absolutely annihilate him in the first round, just destroy him, knock him down 3 times and finish him. That win hasn't aged well before that, knocked out Billy Algeo, who hasn't fought since. And then had that long ass break for military service, which is fair enough, nothing he could do about that. That's the way his country is. And even before then, let's be honest, he was no, he had another fight after that, didn't he? Kyle Nelson. He drew with Kyle Nelson. He's an incredibly skilled and talented fighter, but I think he's not got nothing that Daniel Santos can't defend and can't offer back. Daniel Santos is incredibly durable. That John Castaneda fight showcased that. Took a lot of damage in that first round. Come back in the second, TKO'd him. I think Daniel Santos is just as good as him on the ground. So if Doo Ho Choi tries a grappling approach, Santos will be able to scramble up. Trains at shoot the box. Incredible Brazilian gym. Daniel Santos KO'd his teammate last time out, UFC 320. What's his fucking Ju Sang Yu, I want to say. Nasty KO. Big underdog win. Everyone thought Ju Sang Yu was going to highlight reel him. Daniel Santos matched the intensity. Ju Sang Yu got complacent, and Daniel Santos shut him down. Pulled him against the cage, landed a nice left hand over the top, sat him down, had some ground and pound. Good performance there. So he's on some momentum. And I think he's going to get the decision win here against Doo Ho Choi. I think it'll be a stand-up fight. Santos will out-volume Doo Ho Choi, back him up against the cage. A lot of clinch work against the fence. Look to take him down. And I think he will win by decision. It's a close fight though, just like fucking every fight on this card. Generally, I could get every single fight wrong here, but I'm gonna go with Daniel Santos. I think he's in his prime. Doo Ho Choi's on the decline, and yeah, Daniel Santos just likes fighting Asians. That should be his nickname, the Asian Destroyer, on a massive streak, and I think he continues it here by beating Doo Ho Choi in the co-main event. Moving on to the final fight, the main event of the evening: Arnold Almighty Allen versus Melquizael the Dalmatian Costa, and I'm going with Melquizael Costa to lose to Arnold Allen. That is not because I'm from the UK and I have a bias towards Arnold Allen. I just genuinely think he's better than Melquizael Costa. You tell me now how you think Melquizael Costa wins this fight. And if the answer isn't other than a head kick KO, you're lying. Melquizael Costa in his last 2 fights, Morgan Charrier, nothing happened. Circling around the cage. I'll give him credit, he's got good kicks. That's all he's got. Boxing is non-existent. Couple of kicks the body of Charrier. He sets his head kicks up well. Goes to the leg, body, throws a nice head kick, puts Charrier out cold. He's got very powerful kicks. No, not taking that away from him. Dan Ige fight. Dan Ige starts the fight very well. That is what Arnold Allen needs to do. He needs to replicate that. Puts pressure on him early, backs him up against the cage, clinches against the fence, takes him down, lands a couple of shots in the clinch. Then Costa gets a reversal on him, takes Ige down. Ige shits the bed, then decides to stay at range for 3.5 minutes. You cannot stay at range against Melquizael Costa. He's going to pick you off with the kicks. That's what he did to Dan Ige. Dan Ige's just there, bobbing and weaving at range. Melquizael Costa's just popping him with kicks to the body, sets it up to the head. Nasty spinning back kick to the head of Dan Ige. Dan Ige's never been KO'd, and that's what worries me because Arnold Allen has never been KO'd. Arnold Allen's never been submitted. Arnold Allen's never been finished. And arguably, he's only ever lost once in the UFC. You know, this is the UK bias and the Arnold Allen bias coming through. Arnold Allen has technically only clearly lost to Max Holloway in the UFC. You know, there is asterisks over the Jean Silva fight, especially the Evloev fight, more the Evloev fight than the Jean Silva fight. But I think Arnold Allen is better than Melquizael Costa. Arnold Allen's got better boxing. The kicks obviously Melquizael Costa has. Arnold Allen is going to back Melquizael Costa up. He's incredibly awkward to hit as well. You see Jean Silva have problems with it. Arnold Allen got ahead early against Jean Silva. So if he does what I think he's going to do and needs to do, back Costa up against the cage, got nasty hands. You know, I like the jab of Arnold Allen. I'm sure that looked very good against Jean Silva. The low kicks, even could mix in the grappling. You know, I know this is a weird fight to compare. Arnold Allen versus Giga Chikadze is kind of similar to this. Giga Chikadze is a good kickboxer. That's about it. I could see Arnold Allen getting dropped here and surviving. Arnold Allen's very durable, as I just said. He's never been knocked out, never been stumbled really. I mean, Holloway dropped him at the end, but that was when he was Tism maxing and trying to get the KO after losing 4 rounds. However, I'm worried about the head kicks from Melquizael Costa. Because all it takes is one head kick and that's it. The fight's over. Whereas Arnold Allen doesn't really have that finishing ability. That's what worries me. Apart from the Dan Hooker fight, we've never seen Arnold Allen press someone back up against the cage. Head, body, get the KO, knock him out, TKO him, anything like that, really, as of late. That's why I'm a bit worried. But I do believe if it goes into the late waters, he's got the cardio. Arnold Allen, he's been 5 rounds before. Costa hasn't really. Last 2 fights, he's only been in the first round. And I think if he survives that first round, it's peaches in Creamville for Arnold Allen. I think he can back Costa up all day, body head, get him in the clinch, take him down. And I think he can get a TKO in the second or third round. He just needs to put the pressure on Costa. If he stays at range and gets picked off by the kicks, I could see him getting head kick KO'd. And that would be nice to see. You know, we've had a beautiful last weekend of the UFC with Sean Strickland upsetting him. You know, I've just recovered from Yuri losing, JDM getting destroyed. You know, Arnold Allen, do not lose by head kick to Melquizael Costa. Yeah, I'm pretty confident in Arnold Allen here. I'm worried about the first round of the head kicks, but I think Arnold Allen has the more skill set. You know, we've seen Arnold Allen's Melquizael Costa hasn't fought a southpaw since Steve Garcia. We know how that ended. Steve Garcia brutally knocked out Costa. We see Melquizael Costa get submitted in his debut against Thiago Moises. This sounds like I'm just hating on Melquizael Costa, but I just think Arnold Allen's better than him. We see. I haven't even mentioned this. Julian Erosa had success against Melquizael Costa. He went to war with Julian Erosa before the fucking Charrier fight, so you can't even say that was like 5 years ago. I think Arnold Allen gets a round 2, TKO round 3. I really do think Arnold Allen is the most underrated featherweight in the division. And I'm worried though, because Melquizael Costa does possess higher finishing ability, and he could fluke Arnold Allen. But my official pick is Arnold Allen, round 2, 3, 4, late TKO win over Melquizael Costa. All we have to do, Arnold, is worry about the high kicks. The boxing is pretty mid. And the low kicks are decent of Melquizael Costa. I am kind of underrating Melquizael Costa here, but I truly believe his kicks are his only asset. Arnold Allen has the advantage on the feet in the boxing. Maybe even in the grappling. You know, Melquizael Costa's been submitted by Thiago Moises in his debut. Yeah. Let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with me? I honestly think this card can go either way with the picks I've made. Every fight on this fucking card's 50-50. What do you guys think? Drop a like, subscribe, and goodbye.